The Rings of Power. Now, Amazon were particularly tight-lipped about the numbers around this, how successful it was. No one could have been more of a potential kind of, advocate for the original series Rings of Power, the Rings of Power, than me, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Now, this is, of course, set within the ancient ages. We've just had the news, the exciting news, I think, that Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson are going to be making 2 new films. Oh, my God, 2 new films in the official Lord of the Rings realm. I mean, I'm astonished and staggered that the Tolkien estate have said yes to this. But one of them is the hunt for Gollum, or the search for Gollum. That sounds like it's going to be great. Who doesn't want more Gollum? That's a bit like, that's a bit like The Mandalorian and Grogu. I mean, as the new Star Wars film, mind you, having said all of that, this is all beginning to feel a little bit like you're taking really cherished kind of franchises and universes, and we're just going for the most common, sort of the easy solution, which is a small green Yoda-like Grogu with big ears and no verbal, and Gollum, who's just this strange sort of troglodyte kind of character who is sensational. But the worry with, I'm getting drawn into the Gollum chat. The search or the hunt for Gollum. Could a whole film about Gollum diminish Gollum? That's the trap they mustn't fall into. The Rings of Power. I didn't finish it. I got 2 episodes in. I remember the first episode being less disappointing than I was expecting it to be, and me getting a lot more from it. But then I found the second episode really turgid and really quite boring and quite twee and quite safe. And I do have to say this, I began to worry that it's almost bending over backwards to appeal to every single age range and demographic was compromising in some areas the strength of the performances. But really for me, I think the storyline lacked focus. I felt it lacked that thing that for me makes a Tolkien story so successful, which is you home in on the individual, you stick with the one character, and yes, they may build into a fellowship, but it's about the individuals, a small band of individuals within a much bigger landscape. And I think the problem that I had with the Rings of Power was that it felt like we were starting at the macro, the sort of wide screen of Middle Earth and Mordor and all of that kind of stuff, rather than actually what I thought the charm of The Hobbit and the charm of Lord of the Rings was. It's starting quite literally in a tiny little hobbit hole in a hill somewhere very sort of out of the way, not even part of this bigger world, a little bit like in this world that we live in now, with the horrors of Gaza and Israel and everything like that. It's like somewhere in Surrey. I suppose what would the analogy be for the modern day world? The Cotswolds, maybe. You suddenly find someone in the Cotswolds, you say, hey, do you know what's going on in Mordor? Say it's Israel for now. And they go, where? What? No, we're just busy living our lives, just going to Jeremy Clarkson's farm and having fun. Really? There's evil? Yes, you've got to go off on a journey. Oh, we're on a journey. Anyway, start small, go big. For me, Rings of Power started big, stayed big. I lost interest. So I'm really hoping that they've listened to the memo this time. They've read the memo. They've listened to the voice note, maybe. They've read the voice note, listened to the memo. And they start personal. But looking at the freeze frame of the first shot here, this is the teaser that's landed today. It's already looking widescreen and massive. You start with a lava spewing mountain. Yes, we all want the fix of Middle-earth, but I think really, even for those of us who are Middle-earthian advocates, I want to stumble across the topography of Middle-earth. I want to fumble my way. I want to stumble out of a wood or through a little round door and just fall into this place, which is actually quite manageable, but then gets bigger and bigger. I don't want to start big. It's like seeing the universe and then trying to make a tiny dot in it interesting. Anyway, I think I've had my say. Let's check out the teaser. Excuse me.
An evil, ancient and powerful, has returned.
Prepare yourselves.
The worm is his way inside your mind. The crest of him slithers in.
I think he has been here. I think he's been here among us all along.
Every soul in Middle-earth is in peril.
hold on.
I'm going to have to go and finish season 1 because I am such a soppy little fucker. Let's be honest. I'm a soppy little fantasy world empath. I am like goo in their hands. I'm like putty in their play area. You can just take me and mold me any which way you want me. I'm there. We're going on an adventure. As soon as I see, okay, so there's me decrying the great big lava spewing mountain. And then what do we see? Pretty much straight away, a band of warriors, a band of travellers, adventurers. I forget the name of the character. You've got our wonderful woman from St. Maud. Morfydd, is that the actress's name? Standing like a Legolas type thing. And then you've got someone with a sword, and you've got someone with a bow and arrow, and they're in a circle, and they're all drawing weaponry. Dungeons and Dragons, we're right there. We're in it. And I'm suddenly, the adventurer in me, the team player, the fellowship man is there. I'm up. I'm up for it. I want it. Let's get out there. Let's kill orcs. And then we move through this. And then we get some rather fantastic visuals, actually, of like the snakes and the butterflies, were they? And a sense of sort of dread. And I thought that was a lovely thing in Lord of the Rings, the books, the idea of the kind of infection, the environmental almost, the decrepitude, the death, the decay that was spreading across the land from Mordor. I thought that was rather good. So we've got all of this. And then we've got this character, this rather horrendous looking character, Sauron. Is it the Eye of Sauron? Are we watching the origin story of Sauron? Suddenly this speaks to, will these connect up with Peter Jackson's films? Is someone in the background somewhere going, guys, we've got to talk to both teams, Amazon, Warner Brothers, we've got to talk. But anyway, so we've got a lot of that, and then we've got some beautiful scenery. And then why do we always have to go underwater, though? I don't know. Why does everything have to have an underwater contingent? For me, Middle Earth isn't about underwater. I don't want an underwater monster. We've got dragons, we've got orcs, we've got all sorts of other shit going on. Ogres, we don't need fucking weird fucking floaty whaley stuff. Then we've got lots of kind of, we've got an orc licking a knife. Always good. Ugly orcs. Can't get enough of them. They're fantastic. So we've got a lot of that. Darkness will bind them rather than, like the ring. The ring will bind them. It's darkness that will bind them. Oh my God. We're watching the darkness spread. And then you get a fucking one of those trees. You get a tree in a elven wood. And I'm as I say, I'm goo. I'm melting into my shoes. I'm with you. I'm wanting to be with you. And then we're looking at all sorts of weird stuff flying around people. I'm not a big fan of giant eagles, if I'm honest. But I have to say I got caught up in that. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking the look of it. So it's actually making me want to watch the rest of season 1 so I can get up to speed. But will that happen? Well, that's a big question. I don't know. But, the only slight problem I have with it, if there is one, and I had this with the previous series, everything's CGI because nothing looks like this. But I think the great thing that Peter Jackson pulled off in his Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit was he used the right amount of real location to make you go, oh, this is tangible. I just not feeling, how you get those kind of AI created relaxed environments on YouTube, which is like a burning fire with a kind of a tree just sort of tinkling at the window. But they're not real, they're AI, but people seem to be all right with that. This is like that, and I want a bit more real. Make it a bit more real, please. But anyway, I'm going to watch it. I think I'm going to watch it.